Young and the Restless early spoilers January 26th to 30th. Sally's explosive meltdown while Sharon spirals into panic. On Wednesday, January 21st, we've got Sally Spectra, Courtney Hope, over at the Damian Kane, Jermaine Rivers, train, and she is ranting about him luring Billy Abbott, Jason Thompson, in by offering him Chancellor. Damian Kane's advice is that Sally should trust Billy, but Sally Spectra doesn't believe it when Damian says he cares about Billy Abbott and is proud of his progress. He actually credits Sally. Damian also says Sally Spectra shouldn't make Billy choose between her and Chancellor. Then Damian Kane asks, doesn't Sally want payback on Adam Newman, Mark Grossman, for the way he treated her? He suggests this stuff with Newman Enterprises as karma. Sally thinks it's all going to blow up in Billy Abbott's face, and wants Damian to leave Billy alone. Sally Spectra asks him to retract the Chancellor offer. Jack Abbott confronts Billy over the Chancellor offer. Meanwhile, Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman, tells Billy Abbott, yes, it's confirmed. Damian Kane and Phyllis Summers, Michelle Stafford, have attacked Newman Enterprises with the AI. Of course, Billy knows it. He says Damian offered him Chancellor. Jack Abbott thinks that Billy is backsliding into obsession and revenge, but Billy Abbott denies it. Jack says he is also worried about Nikki Newman, Melody Thomas Scott. Billy says, look, she's going to lose Chancellor either way, either to the AI or to me taking it over. Jack Abbott's mad. He's ranting, calling Billy Abbott selfish. Billy's trying to justify it, saying, if he takes Chancellor, at least the AI won't destroy it. It won't destroy Catherine Chancellor's legacy. Jack assumes Billy's definitely taking Damian Kane's offer, and he thinks part of the reason is for payback on Jill Abbott, Jess Walton. But Billy Abbott says Damian is trying to atone for the past. Jack Abbott asks Billy not to do it, but of course he's not going to listen. Chelsea and Daniel confront Phyllis at Crimson Lights. Chelsea Lawson Newman, Melissa Claire Egan, lectures Phyllis Summers at Crimson Lights about the mess she's made. Then conwoman Chelsea is dropping Bible verses on Phyllis, which is kind of ironic. Chelsea Lawson Newman is quite sure Phyllis is going to get sloppy, make a mistake, and is going to go down. Phyllis Summers tells Chelsea she's proud of beating Victor Newman, Eric Braden. Chelsea promises revenge. There are more arguments. Phyllis Summers says Summer Newman, Allison Lanier, is going to be fine, and Chelsea Lawson Newman should be glad that Victor Newman has been slapped by karma. Ironically, Chelsea says this only happened because Phyllis cheated. Again, that is coming from the conwoman. Young and the Restless spoilers, Phyllis won't back down. Chelsea Lawson Newman goes, and Daniel Romalotti, Michael Graziade, comes in, immediately confronting his mom about the attack on Newman Enterprises. Phyllis Summers tells Daniel to back down, but he won't. Phyllis also insists Victor Newman had it coming. She recounts a little laundry list of things that he's done to her, but she left out the Marco Anicelli incident, which to me was the very worst. Putting a stranger into your bed that looks like your husband, that's sexual assault. There's nothing else for it. Phyllis Summers says Daniel Romalotti doesn't really love her because of the way he's talking to her, and she makes a dramatic exit. Damian Kane pushes forward with the Newman Enterprises takeover. Phyllis Summers heads to see Damian Kane, and she's complaining about Chelsea Lawson Newman and Daniel Romalotti coming at her. Damian says, things are going to get worse. This is going to continue. Phyllis wants to know when Newman Enterprises is going to be totally theirs. Damian Kane tells her that Sally Spectra showed up to read him the riot act because he offered Chancellor to Billy Abbott. Phyllis Summers doesn't like that he made the offer, but Damian Kane says Billy is his brother and deserves Chancellor. When Phyllis goes on about it being a bad move, Damian says, look, the decision's mine, not yours. Now, when Phyllis Summers hears things like that, she usually goes berserk and betrays people. So we'll see. Sally Spectra grills Billy Abbott back at home and wants to know if he's going to take Damian Kane's offer. But before he can even answer, she's ranting. Billy Abbott insists he's not revenge-obsessed. He wants to protect Catherine Chancellor's legacy, but Sally thinks taking Chancellor again will destroy Billy. She thinks Damian Kane has some kind of agenda and really doesn't have Billy Abbott's best interest in mind. Tessa and Daniel spark a connection amid divorce plans. Tessa Porter, Kate Fairbanks, shows up and finds Daniel Romalotti moody and distant after his confrontation with his mom. He tells Tessa that Phyllis Summers is doing all these bad things. Then he says Tessa Porter's problems are more important. She says she's going to file for divorce and seek sole custody. Then she and Daniel Romalotti talk about their connection that neither can deny, and they're back to kissing. Jack Abbott goes to see Nikki Newman. He's worried about all the stress. She says that Matt Cohen has been taken care of, but she has no idea of the details of what Victor Newman did. Nikki says that Victoria Newman, Amelia Heinley, managed to save some of their assets, but things look bad. Jack Abbott says, "At least you can rebuild," but Nikki Newman is quite distraught that she's lost Chancellor. And Jack thinks Victor Newman deserved to be slapped by karma, but he doesn't think the rest of the family deserved it. Jack Abbott tells her that Damian Kane offered Chancellor to Billy Abbott, which completely shocks Nikki Newman. They agree that Jill Abbott wouldn't like this. Nikki thanks Jack for saving her during that sobriety spiral at the GCAC that night a couple of years ago. Then Victor Newman walks in and glares because that's the moment that they are hugging as friends. Victor Newman warns Jack to back off. On Thursday, January 22nd, Damian Kane tells Phyllis Summers that Newman Enterprises is pretty much theirs. They just need to step in and take control. But Victoria Newman shows up and says, "Over my dead body." She's going to hit Damian Kane with a low blow to try and stop him in his tracks. Sharon Newman, Sharon Case, is increasingly concerned about Nick Newman, Joshua Morrow. His pain is worse. He's taking his last prescription pill. He's got fentanyl in his pocket, and he's got some rage issues. Obviously, he is in legit pain, but also he may be dealing with the pain of withdrawal because of the opioids he's been eating like Mentos. Victor Newman confronts and lays into Jack Abbott after he sees Nikki Newman and Jack sharing an innocent hug. Victor's going to blow it all out of proportion, and he warns Jack Abbott to back off his wife. A new detective arrives in Genoa City. Friday, January 23rd, Holden Novak, Nathan Owens, and Audra Charles, Zuleika Silver, go see Amy Lewis, Valerie Pettiford. They're hoping to make amends. I'm sure it's about Audra and Nate Hastings, Sean Dominic, breakup over that dirty deal she did with Victor Newman, and also about Damian Kane's murder. Mariah Copeland, Cameron Grimes, gets a message that's haunting. I'm sure it's going to be Ian Ward, Ray Wise, related or Ian adjacent, or a hallucination. The town of Genoa City is bracing for one of the most shocking weeks yet on the young and the restless. From January 26th to 30th, the tension will reach fever pitch as Sally Spectra's emotions boil over, leaving everyone around her reeling, while Sharon Newman finds herself spiraling into a panic that could have catastrophic consequences. Fans should prepare for heartbreak, betrayal, and some jaw-dropping revelations that are sure to dominate water-cooler conversations. Sally's explosive meltdown. Sally Spectra, who has long been known for her fiery personality and ambitious drive, is set to take center stage this week. Early spoilers indicate that Sally's world begins to unravel when a secret she's been desperately trying to protect is suddenly exposed. It seems that her latest business maneuver, meant to elevate her fashion empire, has backfired spectacularly. The situation intensifies when Sally realizes that the man she thought she could trust, her on-and-off romantic interest, may have been playing her all along. This revelation triggers a full-blown meltdown. In true Sally fashion, her anger is uncontainable. She confronts the person responsible in a heated showdown that will leave viewers gasping. Emotions run high, words are thrown like daggers, and Sally's normally composed exterior shatters, revealing the vulnerable, deeply hurt woman underneath. Sources reveal that this meltdown isn't just about anger. It's about betrayal, ambition, and the fear of losing everything she's worked for. Sally's explosive confrontation will not only shock those around her, but also spark a ripple effect throughout Genoa City. Friends, foes, and business rivals alike are caught in the crossfire, and it's clear that nothing, and no one, will be safe from the fallout. Sharon spirals into panic. While Sally is navigating her storm of emotions, Sharon Newman is facing a crisis of her own, one that threatens to upend her already fragile stability. Sharon's panic begins when she receives alarming news that someone she trusts may be in danger, or worse, that her past choices could come back to haunt her in a very real way. Sharon's panic spirals quickly. Her typically calm and composed demeanor gives way to frantic phone calls, frantic pacing, and a series of decisions that are impulsive and at times dangerous. This week, viewers will see Sharon at her most vulnerable, teetering on the edge between reason and fear. Her reactions are unpredictable, which only adds to the suspense. Will she make the right choices, or will her panic lead to irreversible mistakes? Adding to Sharon's turmoil is her complicated relationship with Nick Newman. While the two have been trying to rebuild trust, the events of this week threaten to push a wedge between them. Sharon's panic spills over into her interactions with Nick, leaving him confused and increasingly concerned about her well-being. Fans should expect intense emotional scenes as Sharon struggles to regain control while facing mounting pressure from all sides. Colliding worlds, Sally versus Sharon. The stage is set for an explosive intersection between Sally and Sharon's storylines. Early spoilers hint that the two women's conflicts may come to a head, creating a dramatic showdown that could redefine alliances in Genoa City. Sally's fury, fueled by betrayal and humiliation, collides with Sharon's frantic attempts to protect her loved ones, resulting in a tense, high-stakes confrontation. This collision is not just verbal. Expect emotional stakes to run high, with both women forced to confront not only each other, but also the inner demons that have driven their decisions. Longtime viewers will recognize the layers of complexity here. Sally's ambition and vulnerability meet Sharon's fear and guilt, creating a volatile mix that could have lasting repercussions. Ripple effects throughout Genoa City. The fallout from these two women's crises will not be contained to their personal struggles. Friends, family members, and even business associates are set to feel the consequences. Phyllis Summers, in particular, may find herself caught in the crossfire as she tries to mediate, or perhaps exploit, the chaos. Meanwhile, characters like Billy Abbott, Adam Newman, and Chelsea Lawson could be drawn into the drama, with secrets and alliances shifting in unpredictable ways. Viewers can also expect shocking twists as past betrayals resurface and hidden agendas are revealed. A seemingly innocent conversation could ignite old rivalries, and a chance encounter might turn into a game-changing revelation. The domino effect from Sally and Sharon's storylines is set to keep everyone on edge, making this week one of the most intense yet in recent memory. High-stakes emotional drama. What makes this week particularly compelling is the emotional intensity. Sally's meltdown is not just about anger. It's about identity, self-worth, and the fear of being left behind. Sharon's panic is not merely fear. It's about responsibility, guilt, and the desperate need to protect the people she loves. These layered performances promise to deliver scenes that are as heartbreaking as they are dramatic. Soap fans will want to pay close attention to body language, dialogue nuances, and subtle facial expressions, as these moments will provide insight into the characters' true feelings. The combination of Sally's explosive energy and Sharon's escalating panic ensures that viewers are in for a roller coaster of emotional storytelling. Looking ahead, as Genoa City reels from these seismic events, the week of January 26th to 30th promises to leave fans talking long after the episodes air. Will Sally find a path to redemption, or will her fury alienate those who care about her? Can Sharon regain her composure and protect her family, or will panic lead her down a dangerous road? And how will these intersecting crises shift the power dynamics in Genoa City? One thing is certain. Viewers should expect surprises, emotional reveals, and high-stakes drama that only the young and the restless can deliver. This week's episodes promise to be unforgettable, with Sally and Sharon at the epicenter of a storm that will test loyalties, challenge relationships, and shake Genoa City to its core. Final thoughts. From Sally's explosive meltdown to Sharon's panic-fueled decisions, the week of January 26th to 30th is shaping up to be a turning point for multiple characters on the young and the restless. As tensions rise and secrets are exposed, viewers will witness some of the most emotionally charged performances in recent memory. Prepare for heartbreak, surprise betrayals, and shocking confrontations, because Sally and Sharon are about to take Genoa City on a ride that no fan will forget. This week, the drama is not just about who will win or lose. It's about how far people are willing to go when emotions run high, loyalties are tested, and the past comes crashing into the present. If you thought the new year started with quiet intrigue, think again. January 26th to 30th is proving that in Genoa City, no one is safe from the emotional explosions that Sally and Sharon are about to unleash. And one thing is certain, fans will be talking about it. Family Mansion was unusually quiet that morning. The kind of quiet that doesn't signify peace but a brewing storm. Jack Abbott paced the length of his office, his eyes sharp and calculating. The morning sunlight streamed through the tall windows, glinting off the polished mahogany furniture, but the room's elegance did nothing to soften the tension hanging thick in the air. Across from him, Billy Abbott, his son, leaned against the edge of Jack's massive desk, a half-smile playing on his lips. That smile, though, didn't reach his eyes. Those eyes flickered with something else, guilt, defiance, and perhaps a hint of triumph. Jack stopped pacing, fixing Billy with a stare that could melt steel. "Billy," Jack began, his voice low but edged with simmering anger. "Do you have any idea what you've done?" Billy shifted, crossing his arms. "I know exactly what I've done, Dad. I accepted the offer from Chancellor Industries. Jack's face tightened. Accepted? Billy, Chancellor Industries isn't some charity giving out candy. They're our competitors. They're the people who've been circling our company like vultures, waiting for the first sign of weakness. And you just handed them an opening on a silver platter. Billy pushed off the desk, stepping closer. It's not like that, Jack. You think I don't want to help Abbott Industries? I do. But this is about proving myself. I've been living in your shadow my entire life. And now, finally, I get to make a move that's all mine. Jack let out a sharp laugh, bitter and incredulous. Your move? Billy, when did your moves start including betrayal? You think this is about you stepping out of my shadow, but this is about cutting family ties. About undermining everything we've built. Billy's jaw clenched. I'm not undermining anything. I'm expanding my horizons, Dad. I'm taking opportunities where they're offered. Maybe you're too comfortable in the Abbott bubble to see it, but the business world doesn't wait for anyone. And if you won't give me the chance to shine, I'll find it elsewhere. Jack slammed a hand onto the desk, making the papers jump. Chance to shine? At the expense of your family? At the expense of everything Abbott Industries stands for? Billy, you're making a huge mistake. Chancellor is not your stepping stone. They'll chew you up and spit you out the moment it benefits them. Billy's face hardened. Maybe. Or maybe I've finally learned to play the game smarter than you think. Maybe I'm tired of always being the loyal son, the obedient Abbott, always sacrificing my ambitions to protect the family empire. Jack's expression softened for a fraction of a second, only to harden again with the weight of betrayal. Billy, I raised you to be smart, loyal, and strong. But this isn't strength. It's reckless. It's selfish. And it's going to hurt the people you love, whether you realize it now or later. Billy's eyes narrowed. You think I don't realize that? Every move I make has consequences, Dad. But sitting in the shadow of your approval forever? That's no life. I have to take risks. And yes, maybe Chancellor Industries is a risk, but it's mine. Finally mine. The tension in the office was palpable. Jack's mind raced through memories of his own battles, his own mistakes. The countless times he had fought to keep Abbott Industries at the top, the betrayals he had endured, the trust he had given and lost. And now, staring at Billy, he felt that same sting, the same familiar ache of disappointment and fear. Jack took a deep breath, trying to steady himself. Billy, listen to me. You're not just risking your career. You're risking our family. You think Victor Newman would hesitate for a second to exploit this, to drive a wedge between us? You think Phyllis wouldn't use this to her advantage? Billy's defiance wavered for a moment, but only slightly. I've thought about that, Dad. Believe me, I have. And I know the stakes. But you've always taught me to fight for what I want. Isn't that what this is? Fighting. Jack's shoulders slumped slightly, a mix of exhaustion and sorrow in his gaze. Fighting, yes. But not like this. Not at the expense of family. Billy, you're my son. I've always wanted the best for you. I've worked to give you everything. And this could destroy all of it. Billy stepped forward, finally closing the gap between them. I get it, Dad. I do. And I love you truly. But I can't live my life making every choice to avoid disappointing you. Sometimes, I have to do what's right for me, even if it scares you, even if it hurts you. Jack's eyes glistened with unshed tears, a mixture of pride and heartbreak. You're growing up, Billy. I can see that. But there's a fine line between growing up and walking straight into a trap. Chancellor Industries isn't a mentor, Billy. They're a predator disguised as opportunity. Don't let your ambition blind you to that. Billy nodded slowly, torn between his father's warnings and his own desire to step out of Jack's shadow. I'll be careful, Dad. I promise. I'm not going to let this destroy everything we've built. I need to do this my way. Just this once. Jack exhaled, rubbing his temples. The anger hadn't vanished, but there was a reluctant understanding creeping in. All right, Billy. I can't stop you from making your own decisions. But know this, if you step into that world, you do it knowing the stakes. And if it blows up in your face, you come back home. Abbott Industries will always be here. And I'll be here, even if I don't like the choices you make. Billy smiled faintly, a mixture of relief and gratitude. Thanks, Dad. That means more than you know. The two men stood there for a long moment, the silence heavy but no longer hostile. In that silence, the complicated bond of father and son stretched taut, tested by ambition, love, and rivalry. They knew the road ahead would be dangerous, filled with betrayals, business battles, and personal challenges. But in that moment, they also knew that family, complicated, messy, and sometimes broken, still mattered above all. Jack finally broke the tension with a small, wry smile. Just don't make me regret trusting you, Billy. The next time I see you at Chancellor, you better not be helping them take down Abbott Industries from the inside. Billy laughed, a sound mingling relief and pride. I wouldn't dream of it, Dad. Not today. Maybe someday, but not today. Jack shook his head, a reluctant chuckle escaping. You've got a long way to go, son. But maybe, just maybe, you'll survive this without completely ruining your life. Just remember, blood comes before business. Always. Billy nodded, his mind already racing through strategies, plans, and possibilities. But deep down, he knew Jack's words had landed. For now, at least, father and son were on the same side, united by love, ambition, and the unspoken understanding that Genoa City's corporate battlefield was far from over. And as Jack watched Billy leave his office, the weight of the morning's confrontation lingered, a warning echoing in his mind. In a world ruled by power, ambition, and betrayal, even family can become the enemy, or the strongest conversation filled crimson lights. But Chelsea and Daniel barely noticed the warmth of the coffee house. Their eyes were locked on the woman sitting in their usual corner booth. The one they never thought they'd have to confront like this. Phyllis Summers. She sat casually, sipping her latte, her expression unreadable, yet the glimmer in her eyes hinted at secrets, schemes, and perhaps the truth. Chelsea's fingers tightened around her cup, nails digging into the ceramic as her heart raced. We need to talk, she said, her voice steady but low, commanding enough to cut through the chatter. Phyllis raised an eyebrow, a smirk playing on her lips. Oh, and here I thought you two were coming for a friendly chat. This doesn't sound like a coffee and catch-up kind of meeting. Daniel leaned forward, his hands clenched on the table. This isn't about coffee, Phyllis. It's about everything. The lies. The manipulation. You've crossed a line, and we're not letting it slide anymore. Chelsea's eyes burned with intensity. You've been interfering in our lives for too long, Phyllis. From pulling strings at Newman Enterprises to your games with Billy, and now this. Her voice trembled just slightly, betraying the emotion she tried to mask. Phyllis laughed softly, a sound that was more sardonic than amused. This, she asked, her tone deliberately vague. You're going to have to be more specific, darling. I hate vague accusations. Daniel exhaled sharply, frustration bubbling up. Don't play dumb. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Your little schemes with Adam, your manipulation of the Newman family. It's gotten personal now. Chelsea and I are tired of being pawns in your game. Phyllis leaned back, folding her arms with the air of someone who had been waiting for this moment. Pawns? Oh, Daniel, Chelsea. Life isn't a game, though clearly you've been playing it that way too. Maybe you've just been too naive to see the moves around you. Chelsea's patience snapped. Naive? Is that what you call being betrayed? You've been meddling behind our backs, Phyllis. And we're done pretending it doesn't affect us. We're here to get answers, honest ones. Not the twisted versions you sell to everyone else. A silence fell over the booth. The ambient chatter of crimson lights felt distant now, as if the entire coffeehouse had paused, listening to the tension radiating from the table. Phyllis regarded them, studying their determined expressions. For the first time, maybe, there was a flicker of uncertainty in her eyes. Fine, she said slowly, her voice almost conciliatory, though her smirk lingered. You want honesty? Here's the truth. I do what I have to do to survive. To protect what I've built. You think this is easy for me? To keep everything together while everyone else, family, lovers, colleagues, thinks they can just walk over me. Chelsea leaned closer, her tone cutting sharp. Protect what you've built? By manipulating people? By lying and scheming? That's not protection, Phyllis. That's destruction. And now Daniel and I are stepping in because enough is enough. Phyllis's smirk faded, replaced by a look of calculated seriousness. And what exactly do you think you can do, huh? Confronting me here, in a coffee shop? Daniel, you're sweet, but you're always trying to play the hero. And Chelsea, you've got a heart of gold, but hearts like yours get used. Do you really think I'm scared? Daniel slammed his hand lightly on the table, drawing the attention of a few nearby patrons. You should be. We're not going away, Phyllis. You've manipulated, lied, and schemed for too long. Whatever you're hiding, whatever plan you're running, it ends now. Chelsea and I are done being victims of your games. Chelsea's voice softened, though her determination didn't waver. We're done being afraid. We're done letting your actions control our lives. If you have an ounce of decency left, you'll come clean. Now, before this gets worse for everyone. Phyllis let out a long, slow sigh, leaning back and staring at them like she was weighing her options. You two are exhausting, she said finally. Always thinking you can just waltz in and force the world to be honest. The world isn't honest. People like me, we do what's necessary. Daniel shook his head. Necessary doesn't mean right, Phyllis. You've hurt people we care about. You've hurt us. And the truth, the real truth, it's coming out. Whether you like it or not. Chelsea's hand brushed Daniel's under the table, a silent gesture of solidarity. They were in this together. Phyllis's calculating gaze softened just slightly, a subtle recognition that the duo in front of her wasn't backing down. All right, Phyllis murmured, leaning forward now, her voice quieter. I'll tell you something, but don't expect it to be neat or simple. Life rarely is. Chelsea and Daniel exchanged a glance, hearts pounding in anticipation. Adam, he isn't acting alone. The schemes you've noticed? They're bigger than anything you've imagined. And yes, I've played my part, but it's more than me. More than you two can fix with a stern talk over lattes. Chelsea's eyes widened, a mix of shock and anger flashing across her face. You're admitting it now. That you're part of it, but not the whole story. Phyllis nodded. Exactly. You want answers? Fine. But know this, the truth is messy, and it's not just black and white. You'll have to be prepared for what comes next. I suggest you sit tight and think carefully about your next move. Because once you go down this path, there's no turning back. Daniel's jaw tightened. We're ready. Chelsea and I, we face things together. Lies, manipulation, danger, we can handle it. But your games end here. And I promise you, we're going to uncover everything. Every last secret. Phyllis stared at them, a hint of admiration glinting in her eyes. You two, you really are stubborn. I'll give you that. Just don't say I didn't warn you. Chelsea took a deep breath, steadying herself. We're not afraid of you anymore, Phyllis. Not ever. Daniel reached over, taking Chelsea's hand firmly. And together we're unstoppable. This ends now, one way or another. Phyllis smiled faintly, but it was no longer confident or smug. There was an edge of tension in the air, a sense that the balance of power at Crimson Lights had shifted. For once, Phyllis wasn't the one calling the shots. Chelsea and Daniel stood, their chairs scraping lightly against the floor. As they walked away from the booth, the energy in the coffee house seemed to hum with the aftermath of confrontation. Phyllis watched them go, the gears in her mind already turning, realizing that the battle she had been waging so cleverly might finally have an opponent she hadn't fully accounted for. And outside, the streets of Genoa City awaited them, full of lies, schemes, and secrets yet to be unraveled. But Chelsea and Daniel knew one thing for certain. They weren't backing down. Not from Phyllis. Not from anyone. Together, they were ready to face whatever came next, and nothing, not even Phyllis Summers, would stop them.